What? You won't believe it. A mysterious force appeared on the street, and Nick saw something astonishing through the window. A rodent invasion. This direction led straight to his house. In panic, he threw dry goods, including beef, into the fire. Black Sister tried to drive them away with a shotgun, but failed. As more little rodents surged in, the two warriors retreated inside, and Nick sealed windows with tape, ready for Wit's duel with invaders. That held the siege for a bit, but then they heard the dog whining outside Youp's. Nick realized they left poor Pupper out there. He had no choice but to rip off the tape. He dashed out to rescue the dog, but in that split second, a dozen big mice stormed into the house. Nick had no choice but to start a frantic beat. After much effort, they barely got through the night. Next morning, the rats retreated, but the street became a cat's playground. The basic ecosystem seemed stable, and Nick finally relaxed, marveling at life's wonders. Months later, Black Sister was finally in a life-or-death moment, but fate played a huge joke on them. The baby's arm got stuck. If they didn't adjust the position quickly, they'd be in big trouble. New dad Nick was extremely anxious, so he bravely followed the book's guidance to adjust the baby's position, trying desperately. Finally, a new human was born. Joy mixed with a sense of relief, but they were still anxious about the future and gave their daughter a subtitle. The name symbolizes hope for humanity in her future. Then, Black Sister left a message in town. This was a move that screams low IQ. Clearly, she and Nick hadn't seen The Walking Dead. Soon enough, an unexpected guest showed up in town. She spotted the message Black Sister left immediately, and a creepy vibe began to creep in. 6 years after the outbreak, on this day, Nick went out to scavenge for food but accidentally bumped into a tiger on the way. This tiger is a foreshadowing device that will come back to grab your attention. Seeing the big kitty in distress, kind-hearted Nick decided to end its suffering. Just then, there was a rustle from the bushes, and Nick looked up to see a stranger. Excited, he chased after her since she was the first survivor had seen. Soon, the girl was forced to stop, staring at Nick in disbelief. To put her at ease, Nick kept his distance, assuring her he was a nice guy. He offered food and shelter, but the girl turned down his kindness and walked away, breaking his heart. Dejected, Nick returned to his cot only to find the tiger was gone. How strange, could other animals have dragged it away? Once in the car, Nick cautiously looked around, worried about the girl's safety. Just then, she emerged from the woods, and Nick quickly tossed her an apple. In this graveyard-like place, nothing is more valuable than food, and that seemed to put the girl at ease as she quietly climbed into the trunk, signaling her acceptance of Nick's kindness. Back home, Nick's wife was busy schooling the two rascally kids. It seemed they'd created some new life in these past few years. Nick's third child was about to be born, while the girl in the trunk refused to come out, still looking weary. Nick understood how she felt. He gently introduced his family, urging the girl to stay in the car and adapt to the surroundings. Back in the room, Nick recounted the day's events, speculating that the girl had been through something horrific and was thus very skittish. Beard Guy nodded in agreement, saying she was a survivor from years back. At that moment, Beard Guy's wife, Maureen, walked in and asked where the girl was. She was curious about the girl. At dusk, she remained in the car as adults sat around her. The next day, Maureen brought over some food to comfort her, but the girl reacted extremely strongly. As she struggled, her arm showed burn scars, hinting at abuse. Maureen then revealed her chest scars, sharing similar pasts. Thus, she could understand the girl's fear and anxiety. After some coaxing from Maureen, the girl finally began to accept this new environment. Next, Maureen guided her into a room and prepared a warm bath for her. While she was bathing, Maureen couldn't help but open her backpack, hoping to gather some information about the girl. The first item she pulled out was a notebook with strange contents that sent chills down Maureen's spine. At this point, Nick and Beard Guy returned to the earlier woods to identify the girl, as it was life and death. Given how far they were from town and the girl's condition, Nick suspected she must have had a shelter. Sure enough, they soon discovered a cabin in the wood. Evidence of habitation was clear in the cabin. Seeing creepy drawings, a terrified Nick fled the woods. That night, Maureen shared her findings with everyone and pulled out a letter from the backpack claiming to be the girl's mother. She said her daughter, Ivy, was part of a once happy family, but her husband turned violent, venting his rage on her. The mother added that she was dying, unable to protect her daughter any longer, and hoped whoever found the letter would take. Upon hearing Maureen read it, all present felt furious and heartbroken. Months later, Nick's third child, a son, was finally born. Nick named him Joy, a cheerful name. It's noteworthy that Black Sister's genes were incredibly strong. 3 kids in a row with dark skin. Time flies, and in a flash, a year has passed. Little Joy has grown incredibly cute, bringing everyone endless joy. Tranquility was shattered when alarms blared around the house. Nick noticed strangers had invaded, urging Maureen to hide the kids in a room while he and others armed themselves to check. They suspected that Ivor's family had come looking for them, as it was the most probable theory they could muster. Moments later, Black Sister saw a figure flash by. Just as she was ready to aim, she heard a loud bark, and 3 people appeared in front. The leading woman pleaded with Black Sister not to act rashly, explaining that they had lost a little boy, which inadvertently triggered Nick's alarms.